Look, before we go, central banks all around the world are starting to be seriously questioned. More so, there's silence on all the things that matter, or if not silence, their inability to act on the obvious. These central bankers have moved at a snail's pace when it comes to the runaway inflation now being experienced around the world. In Australia, the Reserve Bank has been dragging its feet for ages when it came to increasing interest rates. They were adamant on keeping them where they were, despite Australia's inflation being at a 21-year high. Well, 3 weeks ago, as you know, the cash rate lifted to 0.35%, still at a low. But what are Australians to make of all the utterances by the RBA Governor Philip Lowe? Basically, Australians were told to be confident when buying houses because, quote, don't worry, we're not moving rates until at least 2024. And then the rise occurred 3 weeks ago. But last November, Philip Lowe said, the governor, it's still plausible that the first increase in the cash rate will not be before 2024, unquote. Then again, on a separate occasion, last November, he said, I find it difficult to understand why rate rises are being priced in next year or even early 2023. Last July, he said, if you think we're going to raise interest rates in 2023, you've got to have a much more positive forecast of wages growth than we currently have, unquote. Now we have this interest rate shock due to the Reserve Bank either being too slow or not up front with the realities we face. But not only in Australia is this stuff occurring. The Bank of England has come under fire from its former governor, Lord Mervyn King. Lord King has warned that the Bank of England had made, quote, serious mistakes, unquote, in the fight against inflation. On London radio, Lord King said, and I quote, central banks around the world have made serious mistakes in not acting much sooner, unquote. He went on, central bankers around the world are very confident that inflation will simply fall right back to the target. But when people come to set prices or bargain for wages, they won't necessarily assume that inflation will come straight back down to 2%, unquote. The interview came amid official UK figures showing that businesses are attempting to fill a record number of vacancies by offering the highest pay rises in decades. But 7.1 million people on the sidelines don't want a job. Jobs everywhere, but no one to fill them. Same can be said here. It's okay for some, but economists are concerned that sharply rising wages will drive prices higher in a self-sustaining inflationary boom, seriously undercutting living standards. Whoever is Treasurer after this Saturday will have a mammoth task on their hands. Make no mistake, the economy will be front and centre in the next few years. You can bet climate change and all this other nonsense, rising interest rates, labour shortages and the ballooning cost of living will be the only game in town. The worst part is Australia isn't in the best state, heading towards $1 trillion of debt. Political decisions taken for the short term have put us where we are, and we're going to pay a high price down the track for that. Well, that's it from me tonight. Thank you for being with us. See you tomorrow night on ADH.TV, where I'll give you an overview of where I think the cards will fall this Saturday. See you tomorrow night. Good night.